Hello everyone. Welcome to Transform Teaching and Learning with ThingLink and Google Drive. I'd like to take just a moment to introduce myself. My name is Susan Oxnabad and I am the ThingLink Education Community Manager. I'm also a tech coach in an elementary school building outside of Chicago, and I was an early adopter of ThingLink, and I've watched it grow and become better and better, and I've enjoyed using it ever since I first started. I'm also a blogger, and I blog on the ThingLink blog, and I also blog on my own blog, Cool Tools for 21st Century Learners. And I'm going to take you out there right now. I'm going to click on that link to show you my blog, because throughout this webinar, I'm going to be giving a lot of information, and I'm also going to be providing you with a lot of resources. So I wanted to show everybody the blog, Cool Tools for 21st Century Learners. You can just Google it, and I wanted to show you where the resources are. So everything I do basically starts on the blog. So anything you see here, you could just search in the search box over here and find it. But the interactive graphic we're using is right here when you click on the tab Google Drive. And you can see here is the graphic that we'll be using. And this is actually an embedded version of this interactive image, and it was created with ThingLink. I'm going to take you back to the slideshow, and we're going to look at the graphic through a channel of resources. And here we are back looking at actually the same image. It was embedded in my blog, but this is the actual version of the image. When I make changes on this, it also embeds in my blog. So this type of resource is really nice because whoever embeds it will always get the updated version. So this interactive image that I'm sharing with you tonight has 12 ways to use Google Drive. It was created with ThingLink, and so all of these are live links to resources. And it's something I actually created back in 2011, I believe, originally. And it was just a bunch of resources for teachers to showcase some of the great ways that we were working together and collaborating on using Google Docs with students. It was our first year in a middle school where students and staff all had access to Google Docs. And we took great advantage of it, and we learned a lot. Now, I've changed the image, and I've replaced some of the resources, and I've included some of the new features in Google Drive, so I've constantly updated it. And it's really nice that I could do this in ThingLink because I'm able to just replace my image. And so I can keep a resource like this, and then if one of these little images changes, that's all I have to do is upload a new image, but my links stay here. It's a really great feature of ThingLink, and it's allowed me to create this ongoing, growing resource of ways to use Google Drive, and of course, ways to use ThingLink. Now, if I was using this in front of a live audience, it would be really great to poll the audience and find out what resources they would be interested in exploring. So as you can see, I have some little numbers here. So if you click on this, you get a poll. Which resource would you like to explore? And participants could actually vote right here, and they could actually view the results, and then I could cover the topics that were chosen. That's a very nice thing. That's a poll daddy that's embedded in ThingLink through a rich media tag. And you'll see lots of other examples of ways of integrated tools that work to embed content through these rich media tags right on a ThingLink interactive image. And that brings me to the first resource that I'd like to share with you tonight, and that is one of the newest resources here, and it is a student project that's collaborative. It uses ThingLink and Google Docs. Those are the only two tools it uses. Yet it's action-packed and filled with a lot of learning. So as you can see, if I click on this custom icon right here, students can see the project right in front of their eyes. It's just embedded right on the page. Now for this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and flip through my ThingLink channel and show you the beginning of the presentation. So this project first begins with an interactive image that I created as the teacher as an example. And I think it's very important for teachers to actually do that. If you have a project for students, create it yourself, and then you'll understand what opportunities are there and also what obstacles students will be presented with. So here's mine, and I created this collage. As you can see, there's a background, and then there's these little images that are actually little pictures forms that live in the ecosystem, in this case, the Amazon rainforest. Now, I created this entire collage, believe it or not, using Google Slides. And Google Slides is a really nice tool that has a lot of great features for drawing or for creating images and actually finding and researching images. So I created the collage, the background, and then I took little snapshots of things that lived in the Amazon rainforest. And then I took a big snapshot of the whole collage and uploaded it to ThingLink. And here you can see some of the tags that are available where I then added multimedia to define this image. So now I have these multimedia tags, and you can see I've used my own custom icons, and I've let students, so if you click on it, you'll be able to get the sound of a jaguar. It's embedded, and it'll play right here on the screen. Now, I think being connected to this GoToWebinar system, you wouldn't be able to hear the audio, but it really does play, and you can hear the jaguar. And that is from Audio Boom, which is another integrated rich media tag. Now, you can also see that I just have some words here just to define the image a little more. And then sometimes I have a video. So here, this is the cacao plant. And so I thought this was an interesting video. It's embedded because ThingLink supports embedding of YouTube videos, and it can play right on the screen. So that students can watch the video right there. And that's an amazingly wonderful feature when students don't have to click out of an image. So I tagged it with, again, audio, text, multimedia. This is a really great video of a walking stick. And so I went ahead and created this interactive graphic so that students could learn a little bit about the Amazon rainforest and the life forms that live in it. Now, that's just the beginning. As they're exploring the image, I'd want them to learn some things and to be able to answer an essential question. So I'm going to give them a little guidance. And the way I do that is I've integrated some Google Docs. And when I created my ThingLink image, this image you see here, these are just little pictures of Google Docs. And it was just designed to help students work their way through the lesson. And it's a guided lesson that anyone can do online in school or at home, actually on any device. So students would start by clicking on the Start button, and you can see some essential questions here. How does energy move through an ecosystem? How are populations in an ecosystem classified? And how are the populations in an ecosystem interconnected? And again, this is embedded. That's because Google Docs are now integrated with ThingLink, so they embed right on the page. And that's the beauty of this. The only thing I did here is I opened up a Google document and I typed 3 sentences in. I published it, I linked it to ThingLink, and boom, it shows up right there. So I think that's really nice. As kids are exploring this, they can say, wait a minute, what was the question? They can just go right back and it pops right up. So the next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to provide students with some background knowledge, because one of the objectives of my lesson was to introduce them so that they would know the difference between a consumer, a producer, and a decomposer. So, and for them to understand their roles. So I went ahead and to provide everybody with a little bit of a background knowledge, I created a ThingLink for video. And I'll show you that right now. I'm going to click on the link here and pop out to ThingLink for video. And here we're on ThingLink for video. What I did was I just searched YouTube and I found an Amazon rainforest video, but I went ahead and I tagged it so that students watching this could get a little more guidance. And it creates a really, really nice personalized resource. So I don't want to really play it for you too much, but I will try to demo it for you. So here you can see this is a tag that I added. This is my custom icon, and it says, where in the world is the Amazon rainforest? Now this will pop up during the movie. I'll show you that. I'm going to turn the sound down. So see, that pops up when you see this little spot right here. And when it pops up, you can click on it, and then of course you get more information. And here I just put this image in so kids could see it on a map. I can put any type of multimedia in there just to provide more information. So as the video plays and we move along to the next tag I added, you can see that that tag just says consumer, and I used an icon just to illustrate that that would be a text. So they can read this, monkey feeding, monkey vaccine information. And so they can read more and actually pop out to the article. So as you can see, there's a lot of really great ways to use ThingLink for video just to personalize the learning more and to make it a great teaching resource for the things you're trying to teach. Here's another one, producers, and that's another text article I can see. I like to use the custom icons so that students and viewers always know what's behind the custom icon. So here they know they've got a question. So after students watched the ThingLink for video and got their background knowledge, then I'd want a little bit of accountability. And so I've used a Google form here. There it is. Okay, so here's an exit ticket. It's just a very simple Google form, and it's just to help with the accountability. So you can see students just complete it. And here you can see I've just listed each of the things that they saw above, and I want them to classify as a consumer, a producer, a decomposer. Then they go through and do that. At the bottom, they'll continue. And if they've actually answered all the questions, they'll come to one open-ended question where they can elaborate. And also, I always provide an opportunity for students to provide me with feedback. So that's a nice Google form. You can actually create a self-grading exit ticket using Flubaroo, which is available in the Google Docs, actually. And you could provide students with immediate feedback so that they could check their answers and then possibly go back and explore the interactive image, take the quiz again, and get everything right. That would be a nice addition to a project like this because kids like the immediate feedback. And it's always great to use a form to allow students to connect with you. There are some students in the classroom who will never raise their hand, but sometimes they will answer or ask a question through a form. So after students do all that and they explore this resource, they're probably pretty excited about it. Then comes the real learning opportunity. Well, I'm going to ask students to work in collaborative groups to create a similar collage on a different rainforest. Ultimately, I'd take all of the group's final projects and put them in a ThingLink channel like you see here tonight, and I'd present this as rainforests of the world. So I like to use projects like this because students learn so much as they're building. They construct knowledge as they're creating. And if you put them into collaborative groups, then each student can learn and contribute to the project, and they can learn in a way that works with their diverse learning styles because you can see we can add audio, video, text. We can create jobs based on their learning styles, and basically the groups can create something really amazing. So this is a nice project as well because it could be done in the classroom with students sitting next to each other. It could be extended beyond the walls of the classroom and students could also work on it at home, or it could be a totally collaborative project that's online and even global because you can set up a ThingLink account so that a group of students can work on one image and they can all contribute these multimedia tags to the same image. So that's really a great feature of ThingLink as well. Also, if a student's absent or if a student has to travel, the student could still be a part of this project. So this is a Google slide, and this is what I used, you might remember, to create the collage in the very beginning. I shared that information to create the little snapshots and the little pictures, and then I took a snapshot of the collage and uploaded it to ThingLink. And this embedded Google Slides presentation is a guided learning activity for students. So they can work in their groups and they can follow the slides and they can understand what each person has to do and they can create this collage. Now they can look at it right on the page, which again is really useful because they can refer to it and refer back to the other image. But when it's time to actually start building the collage in a group, they'd probably want to click down here and go to the actual Google slide. And now I'm in the full-blown working version of Google Slides. So it's important to point out, I believe, that students are not creating a Google Slides presentation. They're just using Google Slides to create that interactive image. They're also using Google Slides to guide the learning. So while I'm showing my Google Slides right now, I'm not in the presentation mode because students would be working in this mode. They'd all be sharing and working on the same presentation. But this is a really nice tool, the Google Slides tool, because not only can students use it to guide the learning, they can use it to create the interactive image, but they can use it to research to find out what components go on the interactive image as well. So students would work in groups and they'd need to make a decision about which rainforest to cover. So I'm going to take the Ituri rainforest, but maybe I know nothing about the Ituri rainforest. So here's how I can use the Google Slides tool. I highlight it and I go to Tools and I pull out the Research tool. Now the Research tool pops up on the side of the page, and as you can see, a Torrey rainforest is already in the box there. I could also type another search term in the box. I can also narrow my search results in this Google tool, but here I'm going to go with images because I'm making a collage. So when I say a Torrey rainforest and images, I'm going to come up with these images. These are going to be the base images that students will use to create the collage. So maybe I like this as a base image. When I click on it, I can get it right into my presentation, but you'll notice there's some interesting copyright information at the bottom as well. So it credits the source. And so this is a great opportunity to teach students about to be digitally responsible and to credit their sources and to talk about how someone else created this and it belongs to them. But I can choose this and I can drag it into my presentation and it will just show up. So that could be the basis for ultimately what's going to become my interactive image. So students in groups would have to do some more research. And you can see the teacher's role right here would be to guide them and learn how to research. It's not really about the technology here, it's just about finding the information. So I'd narrow down my search and I'd say a Torrey rainforest, let's just say producers, because that was the object of the lesson. And here we go. And you can see by narrowing down my search terms, I did get some producers here. So I could take this, I could click on it, could drag it into my presentation, and I can find out more information by going to the source. So I could find out what the name of this particular animal is, and that's how I can use it for research now. And I'm going to show you how I would make a collage. Let me just demo it right here. So that's all I have to do is use the familiar old crop tool, which is right here. And you can see in the arrow next to the crop tool, it says mask image. And when I click it, I get shapes. So if I wanted to make that a circle, I just go ahead and click circle, and then it gets cropped to a circle. So you can probably see where this is going. This is the circle that goes on top of the big background to create the group's collage. Now, I know a lot of people like that mask image feature, so I just wanted to ensure you that in the resources, in the student resources, and in the resources that you can access, here's a slide showing you how to do the masking of the images again. It's really easy. I've done it with 7-year-olds, and it's really a nice feature. You can mask it into a heart or a star or an arrow. You can really play around with this. It's really quite fun. So after students do the research and they find producers, consumers, and decomposers, and they mask the images, they put it all together onto one slide, and then they take a snapshot of it. If you're on an iPad, of course, you can take a screenshot as well. So once you get the screenshot, it's time to upload the collage to ThingLink. So we're done with the Google Drive part of this, and now we're going to take that beautiful picture. We're going to upload it just by clicking and finding it and uploading it, and then we're going to start to annotate it with multimedia resources to define it. And again, this is how students are learning. They're constructing knowledge as they're creating the collage. And once, of course, they upload it to ThingLink, then they can go ahead and click, and they'll get this tag icon editor box and copy and paste the link to the media here, and then choose the icon. Now, these are icons that are available in ThingLink, and then some of these are custom icons as well. So over here, you can see in my demo of this, these are the icons that I had to select from because I've created those. My ThingLink Premium account lets me create custom icons, and I think that's a lot of fun. I think that's a good way to differentiate. And I like to use the same symbols over and over so students can find the media that works best for them as well. So that is how you would create this particular collage. And moving back to the interactive image then, students have worked their way through all of these tasks, and they've actually constructed a lot of knowledge, and their final task then would be to create something like this, where they're pulling in multimedia and defining the ecosystems of a different rainforest. Now, the final thing is to organize and collect this content and easily make a channel so that you can share the whole resource with all students so that students can learn from each other's resources and everybody can have a complete picture of the rainforest ecosystems, as well as sharing it with parents, of course, and publishing it. So the final trick also involves ThingLink and Google Docs, and I just put it right here, but it's an inbox. After students work collaboratively to create the project, they would turn in the link to the project through this inbox. That allows the teacher to quickly create a slideshow. So I get the link just by clicking on the share button. I'll show you that. So here's the link, and I simply copy it, and then I turn it in as a group member. And I even put some multimedia directions in the form so students could see how to do it. And I copy it into the box right here. And this form is live. I call it the Ituri Rainforest. And I put all the information on it and I submit it. And students have actually told me they love that feeling they get when it says, "Thank you for turning your project." It's like, whoosh. So that's the Amazon Rainforest project. I used only ThingLink and Google Docs to create the collage and to guide the learning. I just used those two tools. And those are really tools that are available, easily available and accessible, and they're flexible. Like I said, this could be an online global project if you wanted it to be. Now, this is just a basic project or a guideline project, and it could be modified to fit a different content area. You know, start by thinking about what you'd like to make a collage about, and then just change the topic and just create your own Google Docs resources, and you could have a really nice project like this as well. I also just shared with you how students can turn their interactive images into the teacher very easily. And I love to use an inbox for a lot of the things that I do when I use digital resources, because it's just a great way to manage. It's very, very simple. You just have to use a Google form to create an inbox, create it once, and after it's created, students can continue to use it and use it and use it. So you can embed it or post it on the one-stop place where students go to find their work, their digital work, boom, and they can turn it in. So let's explore that one just a little closer by clicking on the interactive image. And again, you'll see an embedded Google Doc that is illustrating how to embed forms to create this inbox. And I'm going to go to the bigger version for the purposes of this presentation and share that with you. So after you create the form and students fill it out, I demonstrated that a few minutes ago, this is what teachers get on the other end. This is a sheet, a Google Sheet, and automatically these columns fill in. And when students copy and paste the live link into the box, then this becomes a live link for the teacher. So as you know, a spreadsheet is sortable. You can filter it. You can sort it by name. You can sort it by date or by title of image. The idea here is that teachers have a very easy to work with place to collect images, and also then to assess progress, because they have one place where they can pull up everyone's images. I could sort this and I could find all the Susans, and I could get links to all of the projects created by Susan throughout the school year, and that's a nice assessment tool. Now you can also use a Google form like this to collect links from other resources. I've used it to collect EduCreations projects that students have done on their iPads, just all sorts of things. So please do consider seriously creating an inbox and using it to collect links to ThingLink and other digital content. Now I think we have time to share one more interactive image. And this is also a collaborative project that students would work on together, and it's very multimedia based. And it's very similar to the other project in structure. I made this maybe 2 years ago, and I'm sure when I was designing the recent Amazon Rainforest project, I was thinking back on what worked about projects like this. So for this project, it would again be guided by an essential question down here on the Google Doc. How and why did people struggle for justice during the civil rights movement? And so students would have to answer that question. They'd work in collaborative groups. Again, they'd create a collage and they would include resources. Now, this is my example that I created to share as an example for students, and I'm going to walk you through that a little bit. And then we're going to focus on the jobs. because I talked about jobs in the last project, but I never really showed you what jobs students had. I think it's really important to go through this because it makes for a highly successful multimedia student-directed learning activity. So let me share just a few of the multimedia resources. Again, you can see I used custom icons, and so here's some videos, and these videos actually do play again, which is really nice embedded in there. So I've got some videos that answer that question. And then I've also got some audio because audio was very important. And so I've done that in a few different ways. Here I used SoundCloud, which is also an integrated tool. I sort of like the way the picture shows up there. But here is a song, the Freedom Singers singing just a little blurb. It meets the copyright guidelines. It's very short, but so they could hear. And I don't know if you can hear on the other end with the webinar tool going, but it's really great. So if you explore this image later, it would be great to just listen to that. And I think music was very important during the civil rights, so I wanted to emphasize that. There's a couple of different ways to do music. I actually found a website here, and it's not capable of being embedded, but you just click on it. It's on pbs.org, and it's a whole jukebox full of more music. And so, again, this is an example to illustrate how I would answer this question as a student. So another thing that I included here was a quote. But this is a quote about the Montgomery bus boycott. I like to use quotes because, of course, this is a common core skill now that students are going to be working with quotes. There are also some links down here to some more resources. Learn more on history.com. There are just more resources here. So this is my example. So students would then work in collaborative groups. This is actually what's going to guide the project here. And so this is comparable to the worksheet you would have handed out to your students if this was a paper and pencil task. And this is just guidelines. It just makes it easier for students to access, handier when students have questions, or they can just go back to this resource. Plus the teacher has it forever. And creating it in a Google Doc means you can constantly update it, and it'll be updated in all the places that you embed it. So it's worth it to create this on a Google Doc. This talks about the project, it gives the essential question, and then it talks about jobs a little bit. So there's a multimedia project rubric here. Students could see this right away, so when they're building their project now, they have some guidelines. So that would be my introductory page to the project. I'd let them explore this, and then let's go through the jobs, because I think it's really great to utilize jobs, and I do it whenever I can. So here's my embedded slideshow, and it tells the students about each of the jobs. I love to have it here because then the copy editor can really quickly, they know they're on slide 2, they can just go down here and find their job and say, what was I supposed to do again? It's right there. But I know that you're probably having trouble seeing this in the audience because of so many screens being open. So again, I'm going to open it here to this mode, and we'll just take a look at some of the jobs. Copy editor. And I just like this because these are all designed to work with students' different individual learning styles and strengths. It's to allow them to develop some of their talents, sometimes to step outside and take a risk. If they're self-selecting jobs, they could sometimes try a job that's not totally in their comfort level. And it's designed to help everyone in the group be an active contributor and feel good about being able to contribute what they're learning. So the copy editor, you can see that's a real world job. They're finding information. Everybody is doing research. I used to have a research job, but now that's everybody's job. The graphic designer is the one who makes the collage. And of course, as we saw in the last project, that does involve research, researching through images. And let's see, there's a multimedia engineer. Now that person is sometimes the student who doesn't have much background knowledge about the topic. Multimedia engineer works with videos. As you can see, it's really powerful to embed video into a ThingLink. But as the multimedia engineer is trying to find the right videos, boy, that student's learning a lot just from the videos. They can preview the videos, they can compare them, they can put it all together. So the multimedia engineer gets a little help in getting that background knowledge. So the audio engineer then could find audio like the songs that I showed you. The audio engineer could create audio or instigate the creation of audio. That could be an interview, a mock interview. It could be a song that's written and performed. Lots of ideas for the audio engineer and lots of ways to contribute. But again, it involves research because if you're going to give an interview, you have to know what you're talking about. And then the last one is the project manager. And I always include this in all of my group projects that center on jobs because the project manager is a job designed for that kid who likes to get off task, always needs something more to do. It's that kid who can be the project manager, because this person becomes really important to the overall project. As you can see, they oversee and manage the project, and they also organize all the documents, forms, and links. But their job is to work with every other group member and to make sure that the project's going well, to know what everybody's doing, and actually to answer all their questions. So the teacher is not getting the low level questions. The teacher is getting the harder questions and helping the project managers through them. It gives everybody an important role in a project, and it gives the group the power to collaboratively create something really, really amazing. And the final step, again, is the inbox, to provide the teacher with feedback or ask questions or to reach out and to start a conversation. Now, we don't have time to explore all of the resources that are available on this interactive image today, but I wanted to just briefly go over and show you this resource one more time, because there are some templates here. If you like some of the ideas, but you're thinking, boy, I don't have time to create a project like that, I do have templates that you could use that are already created, and you just change the topic and boom, you could get your project up and running pretty quickly. They do have screencast tutorials in there. I also didn't get a chance to share with you the mind mapping using Google Drive, but Google Drive is becoming a really powerful tool as well. If you want to create interactive images, you need to start with your own graphic, and Google Drive is one way that you could do that. I think I see it used more and more, and I love the way it embeds right here. There are using forms, different ways to use forms that are pretty quick and easy. There's a multimedia exit ticket, which actually displays videos right on the exit ticket. So I hope you'll explore that. And just using forms to pre-teach and assess. This is one of my favorite things to do when I teach, is I give students a form like this where they fill it out, and then I just have them assess their own knowledge. I can type and edit text, yes or not yet, and they go ahead and answer all these questions. Now, very recently, I created a form like this, and one of my students in the comment box, I always have a comment box at the end, one of my students said, wow, I never knew I could learn so much about a tool by completing a form. That's my idea. I want the students to know they can do all these things, and I think that if they take a minute to read through the ideas, a lot of them will try some things that they might not have thought of before. So I hope you will explore this resource, and again, you can email me if you have any questions. I'm going to finish up the webinar with a thank you and a preview of ThingLink EDU Premium, because when I created these images, you see some really cool features. Some of them are available in the free version, and some of them are available in the ThingLink EDU Premium version. And so I thought if people in the audience are interested and want to stick around to participate and look at an overview of the premium features, I would share that. There's also a discount code. So if you're interested in purchasing the ThingLink Premium and you type in the box Susan TLEDU, you can get 20% off of your premium. And so it's priced very, very reasonably. And when I tried to pop the code in, it came out to $28 for the year for ThingLink Premium with this code. So let me go ahead and share with you some of the resources. I'm going to link out to a slideshow that's right on this interactive graphic, and that was created in SlideShare. Of course, I hope I've demonstrated tonight that ThingLink is useful across all content areas. One of the newer features in ThingLink is you can now customize the text, and that's really nice. Here's an example of it. You can use bold, italic, or a header to make the text stand out if you just want to tag an image with text. Sometimes that's just a really quick and easy thing to do, and it works much better with the customized text. And there's ThingLink for Video. So ThingLink for Video is only available with the ThingLink EDU Premium account. And I did demonstrate this earlier, where you can just tag and annotate a video with your own content and use your own tags. It's a pretty powerful tool. That's a great premium feature. And this is a nice screen for understanding rich media tags a little better. So here are the tags that you can create where they'll be embedded right on the page. Just like I showed you how the YouTube was embedded right on the page, there's other video as well. There's Vimeo. There's all of these video services. There are all these audio services, all these image services, social services as well, and e-commerce, which probably is not for students unless you're doing a fundraising project, and then all of these other services. So ThingLink's always connecting with other third-party tools and trying to create these rich media tags. And it's a lot of fun to be able to watch this section grow. A lot of possibilities for just putting content on top of content and building a great interactive image. Now with ThingLink EDU Premium, you get more icons. And the icons, I think, are really important because they help users look at the picture and know right where to go. And sometimes students really do need that guidance. So here there is an enhanced custom icon set available in the Premium, and there are all these new ones that I really like down here, and we're always adding more. And then you can also create your own custom icons, which is what I like to do. And this is my image, and these are my custom icons. And again, you can create whatever custom icon comes to mind. They're pretty easy to create. They're just teeny tiny little graphics. You can create them in PowerPoint if you want to. The beauty of the premium feature, though, is that premium version would be for a teacher. And once a teacher buys a premium version, the students are just always free. And so if students are in a class created by a teacher and the teacher has these custom icons, the student can then use the custom icons. So sharing icons is great, and students get it as long as their teachers have premium. Oh, and this is probably my favorite feature, the ability to replace an image. When you create a ThingLink, you start with an image and you upload it to ThingLink. Then you create all of the tags. Now this is my original ThingLink image that I created in 2012. Each of these little pictures here actually have an icon on them, and they have resources linked to them. So as you can see, there must be 25 of them here. Plus, on the actual image, I have icons here. So when I needed to replace this image, because of course, if I created it in 2012, some of the tools are no longer available. In fact, this whole section here has been replaced. When I first started having to redesign it, it was a huge initiative. I'd redesign this digital differentiation image, and I'd have to open the old one next to the new tag, copy and paste the tag information. It took a while. I still did it because it was worth it, but now that's all I have to do is recreate the base image. And by that I mean I would take my eraser tool and I'd erase this tool and I'd put a new one up there. So I have to recreate that, and then I can replace the image by clicking on this button, and boom, it appears in ThingLink. All the links to everything are still intact. So the only thing I have to do to update this image, if I've replaced this here, is I edit and I replace one tag, one icon, one link. This is a really great time-saving tool. It also helps if you're trying to get your images the right size. You want them to fit inside a specific place when you embed them, and you want the tags to look right. And so this is really useful to replace your image. It saves me a lot of time, and I use that feature often. And another feature is that you can replace the branding. So in the free version, there's a small ThingLink tag in the lower right-hand corner of all your images. It's placed in a good spot, but honestly, sometimes you don't want it there. Sometimes you want your own logo here. So in this case, here's a school logo. I think a school logo, a classroom logo icon would be nice. I even think it's great, would be great if a student created a project for them to use their avatar as a logo, which I do all the time, to stamp their name on their project. Because that's just another way to teach students about digital citizenship and not protecting your identity. If they had an avatar, it would be great because it could be personal but not private. So lots of different things you can do by replacing the branding, or you can just make it blank and have nothing down there in the corner. Slideshows. So I've been sharing a slideshow channel with you throughout this presentation. It's just a series of slides, interactive images that work and are linked together. And you can add multiple ThingLink images to one slideshow with the ThingLink Premium version, and you can also embed them. You can embed them into ThingLink for video. You can embed them into your blog, your wiki, or your website. so that they can be published and celebrated and displayed wherever you want them to be. And then, of course, the Google Drive integration. That was what this webinar was all about. And I think I illustrated that pretty well. It's pretty nice to finally have just quick and easy access to Google Docs and to have just the flexibility that comes with these two tools, with integrating these two tools. I think you could find millions of uses for them. And finally, there's a dashboard. So the advanced dashboard lets you check your statistics. So those of you who are wanting to see how many people have looked at your image or hovered over your image or clicked on a link, all of that information is here. I also like this time on image. It shows the time on image so you can see how long people are spending on your image. And so that's some of the highlights of ThingLink EDU Premium. And again, here's that discount code if you want to use it with my name on it, Susan TLEDU. And just enter that at checkout. If you have any questions, there's more information available. There's a nice robust section available on the ThingLink website that you can explore, or you can email me. That would be great. So the final slide in this channel is just to thank everybody and to mention just a few Connected Educator events that are still coming. This is an interactive graphic that I created at the beginning of the month, and we are still looking for a ThingLink expert educators, so there's information there. There's the video archive of the MOOC that we did, Power Up Your Pedagogy with ThingLink. And there's this webinar here, and pretty soon the video will be right here, linked here. And then we have an upcoming event on October 28th that's very exciting. It's an interactive image slam, and I was able to get two superstar EdTech experts, Richard Byrne and Shelley Terrell, to agree to share an image with us, one of their interactive images. So the way that works, it's a very informal webinar. It's basically all about panelists sharing one image and answering questions. And it's just designed to inspire and to celebrate ThingLink educators. So with that, I'd like to thank all of you for attending this webinar, and I hope you found some useful information. And I hope you will connect with us and connect with the ThingLink community of educators. And I hope you'll have a great evening. Thank you so much. Good night.